Okay, hello everyone. So my topic this afternoon is dealing with stress. And what I'd like to look at is how we can use Buddhist meditation, in particular to help us really recognize what stress is and how we can let go and reduce the amount of stress we have in our lives. Actually, finally opening up the prospect of being able to let go of stress completely. So I think within our culture, then this is a big deal. This is a big topic, because I don't know if you've noticed, but everybody is stressed out. Everybody is stressed out. You know, the folks going off to work, the folks staying at home, the grandparents are stressed out, the kids are stressed out, everybody is stressed out. The parents are stressed out taking the kids to recreation. Everybody's stressed out. And we know, actually, within our society, we discuss this, that stress is a big problem, that it causes a lot of disease, physical disease, backaches, headaches, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety. All of these things are stress-related. Apparently, it's the biggest cause of, people staying at home from work, missing work, because of stress. And yet the word is actually fairly mysterious. Stress. What is it? What does it indicate? We sort of know, it seems, because we talk about it a lot, but what does it actually indicate? What's actually going on when we're experiencing stress, when we are stressed out? So at the moment, I think our understanding is that stress comes from the external situation. So we feel that there are certain situations that are stressful. At work, it's stressful. It's a stressful environment. My boss, not just situations, but people, right? My boss stresses me out. My partner stresses me out. My kids stress me out. Whatever it is, we feel it's coming from the external situation. And in a sense, we have no choice but to get stressed out because it's a stressful situation. And that's what we say to folks, I'm in a stressful situation. Everybody nods sympathetically. Aha, stressful situation, I see. Yeah, poor you. No choice. As if, you see your boss coming and he's like a stress inducer. He's like radiating stress vibes, towards you. And you have no choice. You're just like being stressed just by seeing him. But clearly, if that were the case, if stress were was being aroused from the external situation, then everybody who saw your boss would be responding in the same way. Everybody who was in that situation would be responding in the same way. Everybody would be losing their heads, so to speak, simultaneously. And yet clearly that's not the case. You can be with people who are responding very positively while you're responding by freaking out, becoming stressed out. So that in itself is a clear sign that it's not the situation itself that is producing stress, but rather your response to it. In other words, your mind is creating the stressful situation. Stress is created by your mind. So then we need to investigate further. What mind? What mind is creating stress? How is it you're responding to the situation so as to produce stress? So I think that, relying on Geshe Kelsang's teachings, where we really look in depth at the nature of the mind, we can learn to examine the mind and explore a stressful situation and determine which states of mind are creating what we call stress. So I think, at least as a way of introduction, we might say that stress is the tension that arises between what we want to happen and what is happening. It's the tension that arises between what we want to happen and what is happening. I'll just give you a simple example, a Manhattan example, because that's where I live. When you're running to catch the subway, the train, and there you are, you want to catch it. You may even think you need to catch it because you have to get to a certain destination. You arrive there almost in the nick of time, and the door closes right in front of you. It's an interesting experiment, actually. You can sometimes just sit in the train and watch this happen at every station to people. And you will see that there is seemingly a universal response, as if this were a stressful situation from its own side, because everybody goes universally, no. Like that, no. And then they immediately also respond by looking up towards the conductor with this hopeful look in their mind. The conductor's looking in the other direction, paying no attention. And then you can see, that, because you know from your own experience, that your mind immediately then starts basically thinking not very pleasant thoughts about the conductor, as if he was doing this purposefully to you. In fact, I'd probably planned the whole thing. Waited till you just got there before he hit that close button and then went off snickering to himself. So you want something to happen, and then something else happens. And what do? We reject it, right? We reject what's happening, and we become unhappy, and we can get trapped in that state of unhappiness, can't we? I mean, you can actually sometimes spend the next 5 to 10 minutes being essentially bummed out about what just took place. Why? Because you're angry. Anger has just arisen in your mind. You are rejecting what took place. That's what anger does. It rejects what takes place. And then it fixates on that. It fixates on the problem and exaggerates the problem, and you get caught up in this big fantasy, and you can stay there for a long time feeling pain. And it's useless, isn't it? Much better if we responded with a solution-oriented mind. We just said, aha, yes. The train doors have closed. Yes, I accept. And therefore, what should I do? Should I wait and catch the next train? Should I run up and catch a taxi? Whatever. You respond with a solution-oriented mind if you're practicing patient acceptance. So let's look at a more kind of commonly stressful situation. There you are at work, and you are multitasking, because that's what we do. We all multitask. You're doing many things at one time. You're like a juggler, right? You're juggling your balls up in the air. Maybe you're feeling pretty good because you're on top of it, You're doing good. You're like in the groove. You're in the zone. Everything's going well. Your boss comes along, says, can you do this? No problem. You take another ball, keep it all rolling, flowing. Another ball, no problem. Then your boss says, oh, by the way, can you just do this? And at this point now it's getting a little bit edgy because now you reach the limit of what you feel to be your capacity. And then they say, oh, actually just this. And on your way out, can you also just do this? And then at a certain point, right, you feel like you're about to start dropping balls, and your mind goes, no. Same thing. No. Rejection. I don't accept. But, of course, it's your boss, so you say yes. So externally you're saying yes, internally you're saying no. And what happens is your mind gets fixated on the no, right? Because you're angry. You start weaving the self-same elaboration on the disappointment. And you're holding on to that thinking, oh, my boss, they always ask too much of me. They're so demanding. Don't they understand my situation? Blah, 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 blah. And, of course, you're dropping balls now. And as you're dropping balls, you're becoming more overwhelmed because things are getting out of control. You start worrying about, losing your job or this or that, whatever it is. But you get trapped in a negative cycle of mind created by your mind of anger, created by your mind of rejection. And it's just increasing stress, isn't it? It's increasing pain. It's increasing the tension in your mind. Things are spiraling downwards. Things are getting worse. And all the time, you're blaming your boss or the situation or whatever it is, right? You can apply this analogy to any number of situations. So you're externalizing the source of the problem, but in truth, the problem is your own mind of anger. Stress is a product of anger. I'm going to say that again, because I think it's really important. Stress is created by the mind of anger that's rejecting the situation,